So, since the possibility exists that after I am being locked up again in an Austrian concentration camp, like in 2022, where they had me abducted from my Hungarian holiday with a fake trial and false accusations, where they exposed themselves completely because these people weren't the smartest people of the lot. But they put as an arbitrage arrest warrant to have me politically abducted and put in a dungeon without lawyer and consulate because I accidentally exposed a big Austrian sex scandal. Now I am asking already 3 years investigation for the serious human rights violations which happened in this case in 2022, and with a lot of evidence, as you can go to check out for yourself in my videos, where I demand already 3 years investigation after the Ministry of Justice refused to investigate this, the Court of Grass refused to investigate this, the Volksanwaltschaft refused to investigate this, and I think any other authority in Austria refuses to investigate this. Unless these authorities investigate this all, the European Court doesn't want to investigate because they first want all the Austrian authorities to investigate. Human rights organizations find I am personally not the person they want to represent. I guess I have the wrong color. But although I am demanding investigation into this case since November 2022, I am today being sued with my own taxpayer-funded lawsuit, a slap lawsuit from Austria, where my government is helping to sue me. Although in 2022 they state that Belgian authorities cannot spend taxpayer money to investigate these crimes in Austria. This is something for the Austrian court. But to sue me over evidence from this lawsuit to which I demand investigation, for this we can spend obviously taxpayer money. So I wonder, would this do anything to the budgets? Statement for the Belgian police concerning the Palma House investigation by Lioris Christophe. To the Belgian Police Authority. Date 26 Augustus 2025. I am submitting this statement as a Belgian taxpayer, deeply disappointed and frustrated by the misuse of public funds in relation to an investigation and interrogation based on proven false accusations. I believe this constitutes an illegal slap lawsuit designed to silence my demands for an investigation into documented human rights violations and perjury committed by the Austrian court in September 2022. I have sought justice since November 2022, including a letter to His Majesty the King, but my pleas has been ignored. While taxpayer money is now being wasted on this same case to indict me at Austria's request in 2025. In 2021, I encountered a woman in Hungary who claimed she was a victim of a human trafficking at Palmhaus brothel in Steiermark, Austria, since age 16, supported by evidence of a network involving blackmail. I reported this in 2022 with recordings, documents and witness accounts, only to be illegally abducted from my holiday in Hungary on September 29, 2022. Under a flawed European arrest warrant, case number 27 ST90/22S, the warrant relied on a baseless allegations and a discredited psychological report, and I was denied a lawyer until October 31, 2022, with exculpatory evidence suppressed. During my unlawful detention, I wrote the European Court of Human Rights to raise awareness. Now, in 2025, the Klagenfurt Court in Austria is suing me for defamation over a recording I did not make. It was evidence from the 2022 case, created by the alleged victim MB, who gave me permission to publish it. The NGO funding this lawsuit, mysteriously government-supported in Austria, knew I was innocent, yet pursued a 15-year sentence to silence my whistleblowing on what I believe is an Epstein/Diddy-style sex scandal. This stemmed from my 2022 attempt to file stalking charges against my ex-girlfriend, who admitted her victimization. The NGO representative, who I've demanded investigation into for 3 years without response, did not personally permit publication, but her NGO encouraged it during my 2022 calls seeking inquiry. I challenged the publication rights claim, as my recent videos, available publicly, show my consistent demand for investigation since November 2022 into these recordings. The evidence, recordings, logs, and the October 15, 2022 hearing video proving perjury is overwhelming, yet unanswered. Instead, my tax money funds the prosecution against me, while Austria refuses to investigate the original crimes. Is this the tape made during my illegal detention without a lawyer or consulate, by alleged victim and the NGO woman who was funding the lawsuit? How is it possible that Belgian taxpayers fund my persecution for exposing these atrocities in Austria to police in 2022? I demand the Belgian police investigate the illegal abduction and detention by Austria in 2022. 2. The misuse of Belgian taxpayer funds for this 2025 lawsuit against me at Austria's behest. 3. The NGO's role in the human rights violations supported by my extensive evidence. 4. Who is funding this slap lawsuit? Again, NGO Gewaltschutzcentrum, like in 2022, who are taxpayer funded in Austria? I am exhausted but determined to seek justice for my injustice. Sincerely, Lioris Christoph. Now, this is my statement, which I will hand in to police for my interrogations, but I do want to read a few more pieces of material. So the text I will add here comes from the website from the anti-slap working group in Belgium. Also, the European Parliament has the European Parliament has a text on how to handle slap cases and how they are illegal. What is a slap suit? SLAP stands for Strategic Lawsuit Against Public Participation and refers to the abuse of legal procedures to intimidate or silence public watchdogs, journalists, academics, NGOs, human rights defenders, environmental organizations, citizens initiatives. This is a worrying phenomenon since the aim of the slapper is to stifle public debate through the abuse of the justice system. It usually involves the threat of a civil lawsuit brought by wealthy or influential individuals or companies, alleging that a particular publication, report, brochure, pamphlet, or website contains erroneous or defamatory content. Through the courts, then they demand either the removal or modification of that content, or, and sometimes in combination, substantial damages for reputational damages. Sometimes it also involves threatening complaints or direct summons to the criminal court, for example for defamation, stalking, or criminal breach of privacy laws. Such actions are often designed to intimidate critical investigative journalism or campaigns by NGOs or citizen initiatives. The plaintiffs in such cases have no valid prospect of winning the lawsuit, but mainly want to harass and deter their critics through these slaps by the prospect of a high legal fees and protracted court proceedings in some cases. The threat to file such a lawsuit, for instance, through a letter from a law firm, is enough to achieve the desired effect. The Council of Europe Commissioner for Human Rights, Dunja Mijatovic, time to take action against SLAP, 27 October 2020. Now, and I'm being sued here in 2025 with clearly a case like this, and sorry to say there is a lot of evidence with this case where these people are really making fools out of themselves with the corruption they are committing. And I mean with this the Austrian court, which is now suing me because I demand investigation into proven human rights violations by Austria in 2022. And to which I think I have also a valid claim to demand that this trial is moved to the European Court of Human Rights. Or is Austria openly allowed to put me now into a concentration camp because I am complaining about the human right violating arrest that they did to me in 2022, for which I, by the way, was proven all the time guilty, which I was shouting from at the start, but nobody wanted to investigate, all with lots of evidence and witnesses. And the recording which proves the NGO who was funding this ridiculous criminal lawsuit knew very well that I was innocent, and still they persisted in funding this lawsuit, trying to put me 15 years innocently in prison. And there is where I'm being sued about, because I published this video after the NGO said publish it, after the second speaker gave it to my lawyers as evidence while I was in arrest, locked up innocently, having my rights seriously violated. Now the other speaker in the recording, to which I am demanding already 3 years investigation, asking already 3 years investigations, this is now suing me with my taxpayer money, as well as that I now have to pay my own defense on top of this. And I even have a recording of this woman, because only I published one recording. I have several obtained from my lawyers after this case, in a remark that she makes from he will have money enough to get a good lawyer. So these people, they really expose the workings of these NGOs, how crooked they are indicting people secretly for the government actually. And still nobody wants to investigate this. Did nobody watch the US aid scandal, for example, which Elon Musk published, or which Doge found? Did somebody read The Ignoration of Political Warfare from 1948 by George Kennan? Because this raises a lot of questions, all or not, together with all the other stories like this developing worldwide. So I guess this is going to be a very interesting case, especially now, seeing everybody who is being indicted in America for all the corruption they made, and these indictments which are clearly proving that similar things in Europe are happening. And now we can also state a number of cases where we have some questions about, like Julian Assange, for example, the Tate brothers. And this also has to look very similar to the lawsuits against Alex Jones. Only, of course, I am a small ant who they are trying to crash. But still, the corruption in this case is unbelievable. The entire justice system from Austria, they should better start over from scratch. But that's of course only my 2 cents. Maybe I should try to apply to the Russian authorities for political asylum, because when Navalny was there in prison, they were here all shouting about human rights, but here what is happening in Europe, they are putting under the table. I really don't understand why nobody wants to investigate this case. Was it then all true what Alex Jones said?